When you take desperate measures, you are always plagued by doubts. What could I have done to avoid this situation? What actions could I have taken to avoid being here? I was pretty sure there was nothing I could have done. I had few options. How do you convince an adult that their actions will destroy everything they hold so dear? You can't force them to do anything. You can only watch helplessly and deal with the consequences. That is exactly the position I found myself in. My loving wife decided that this would make us stronger, demonstrate our love for each other, how strong it is, and what we mean to each other. I, on the other hand, felt it demonstrated how weak her love for me was, how selfish and spoiled she was. I am an ordinary person living an ordinary life. I'm not a strong, gentle, romantic hero. I have flaws like everyone else. I don't pay enough attention to anyone but myself. I work too much. I sometimes get angry when I shouldn't. I don't do it intentionally. It just happens. I'm human. Life is like that. Work and events get in the way. I was married to Amanda for 19 years. We were both ready for more when we found the time. We were distracted by other things. Football, a good book, a TV show, or maybe the girls wanted something to keep us busy. Suddenly, she wasn't happy. "Corwin, how long has it been since you went on a date?" she asked one day. "Last Friday I took you to that Italian restaurant you've been wanting to go to for a long time," I replied. "We went to a movie and your mom kept the girls overnight, remember?" "I don't mean with me," she said. "How long has it been since you've dated anyone else?" "Jesus, Amanda, are you accusing me of something?" I asked. "No, no, honey. It's not that at all. I was just wondering if you remember the name of the last girl you dated besides me?" "Yes, I remember," I said. "Her name was Donna, and it was about 2 weeks after I met you. I think you might remember her too. We had a big fight about that date." "Did you ever miss her?" she asked. "God, no." I laughed. I remember how awful it was. Not that date, it was pretty good, but the whole dating thing. Working up the courage to ask a girl out, worrying about being turned down, the awkward first conversations. It was traumatizing as hell. "But wasn't it exciting and mysterious?" she asked. "More like absolutely terrifying," I replied. "What made you think of that, Amanda?" "I was just wondering if you've ever felt the urge to go on a date with someone else," she said. "No, I've never felt that way," I answered her. "I guess everyone has fantasies, but no. I remember you getting really mad when I went on a date with Donna and said you wanted us to be exclusive. I decided that's exactly what I wanted too. If I felt differently, I wouldn't have asked you to marry me. I'd just date women. That's what it means to be married. You don't go out with people other than your spouse." She left it at that, and for a month I heard no more nonsense. It was Friday night. "Corwin, I saw the way Sebra was looking at you tonight. She wanted you to ask her to dance." Sebra is a friend of ours where Amanda works. We've known her forever. We met up with her and Angela, another friend from work, for dinner, and then went to the club. Sebra is a very nice and very pretty woman, about 5 years younger than us. "Well, that's very flattering, but I only want to dance with you," I told her. "I won't be jealous if you ask her out," she said. "That's nice, but then you have no reason to be jealous because I'm not going to ask her out," I said. "Would you be jealous if I danced with another man?" she asked. "I think your brother would be fine with it," I said. It was a joke, but she didn't laugh. "I never cared if you danced with guys who asked me politely and kept their hands where they belonged. Was there anyone there you wanted to dance with? I don't remember anyone asking me out." "No, I was just curious," she said. I had no idea where this was going, but I didn't like it. I didn't think I could sleep, so I got up and went to my room. I was playing a video game and saw her come to the door and watch me for a minute. I didn't look at her and she went back to bed. I waited until she was asleep and joined her. Things were quiet for 2 months until we went to Angela's promotion party. It was at the White Rhino, and there was a good band playing. We were all sitting in a big round booth, and Amanda was talking to Sebra. "Corwin, Sebra wants to dance," Amanda said. "Could you be a gentleman and dance with her?" What the hell? I remembered the conversation from 2 months ago. Now I was in a very awkward position. Mora was a good friend of mine, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but I definitely didn't want to dance with her. That lush body pressed against mine didn't bode well, but I didn't know how to gracefully get out of the situation. I liked to dance, but I didn't know how to do it. Mora was like a big cat, graceful and smooth, and I looked clumsy. There was no good way out, so I stood up. I think they're playing our song. Thanks for dancing with me, Corwin, she said. Amanda said you wouldn't mind that you like to dance. I haven't danced since I broke up with Bruce. Well, you're a very good dancer, I said. Actually, I don't mind dancing with you, Mora. I like you a lot. Hell, I love you. You're the sweetest girl I know, but you're really hot, and that's not a good idea for me. She giggled. You're safe with me, Corwin. I love you too. If you weren't married, I'd be thrilled for you, but Amanda is my best friend. Let's just enjoy this dance, okay? When we got back to the booth, Amanda wasn't there. I looked around and noticed her black and white dress. She was on the floor with some young guy with Nordic looks. She was laughing in his face, and his hands were much lower than they should have been. She noticed me standing there looking for her. She smiled and waved at me. I was angry, very angry, in fact. She'd sent me off with Mora to dance with that asshole. I threw a couple of 20s on the table and started to stalk toward the exit. Zebra watched me halfway to the door and then ran after me. She caught up with me when I was halfway to the car. Corwin, stop! Where are you going? She panted. We've been played, I told her. Amanda was talking about dating other people and asked me if I'd ever thought about it. That's what it was. She was testing the waters. She set it up by getting me to dance with you. It gave her an excuse to dance with Romeo. So what are you doing? She asked. You're just going to leave her here? That's exactly what I'm going to do, I said. Well, you can't leave me here, she grabbed my arm. I'm coming with you guys. I felt as fit as a fiddle. I'm sorry, Mora. I don't know what I was thinking. It's okay, Corwin. I don't like being played with any more than you do, she said. Take me to your house so I can get my car. We were almost home when my phone buzzed. I ignored it, and Zebra glared at me. Her phone rang, and she answered it. We're almost at your house, she said. She looked at me and muttered, Amanda. No, this wasn't my idea. I was driving with you guys, remember? My car was leaving, and I wasn't going to be idle. No, look, Amanda, I'm not a part of this. Don't put me in that position. We've been friends for a long time, girl, but if you mess with me, you'll regret it. She ended the conversation. She wants you to come back and get her, she said. Well, I want a wife who doesn't play stupid games, I sighed. Where did that shit come from, Moore? Marcy, from work, I think, she said. She's always talking about how she and Herb have an open marriage, and how great it is, and how it's made their lives so much better and their marriage so much stronger. It's a load of crap. He and Herb barely talk and spend all their time entertaining all their friends. He's been hitting on me for as long as I've known them, the creep. She's been filling our ears with this crap for 2 years now. I didn't think Amanda was stupid enough to buy into it, but I guess I was wrong. I think she's trying to set us up, Corwin. She knows that I love you and that I've always liked you. I almost choked. Thank you, Mora. This is really awkward. I mean, I think you're gorgeous, but I'm a one-woman kind of guy, and I'm not good at sharing my toys. I'm sorry she dragged you into this. Why should you be sorry? She asked. You had nothing to do with it. I danced with the man of my dreams, and I don't regret it one bit. Corwin, will you let me know what happened? I assured her that I would, and she got in her car and drove off. I went into the house, thought for a while, and then took my stuff out of the master bath and put it in the one in the guest room. I went back and got my stuff for work the next day and put it in the same place. I locked the door and went to bed. For some reason, maybe the drink, I fell asleep right away. I was half awake when the door slammed downstairs and footsteps were heard in the hallway. The handle of the bedroom door jerked a few times. Someone knocked on the door. Corwin, what the hell is going on? I heard Amanda whisper. She probably didn't want to wake the girls who were sleeping in the hallway. She tapped and whispered for another 10 minutes, and I heard her footsteps retreating down the hallway to our bedroom. Or rather, it was our bedroom. Now I had no idea what it was. I found that I hated the bed in the guest bedroom. How many people have even tried to sleep on a guest bedroom bed? I tried to get up and slip out the door before she woke up. Yes, it was a cowardly plan, but who cared? I just didn't want to see her. But it didn't work. She came down the stairs as I was stacking some papers in my briefcase. What's the matter with you, Corwin? She hissed. She was all pissed off. I think you should ask that question to yourself, I said. What does that mean? She said loudly. You ditched me at the club last night, locked yourself in the spare bedroom, and are trying to sneak out of the house an hour before you have to go to work. Now you think there's something wrong with me? Yeah, that's exactly what I think, I said. I picked up my briefcase. Everything I've done is a reaction to what you've done. I don't even want to look at you right now. You have no idea how close you are to making me permanently angry with you. Pull yourself together, check all your points, and be ready to talk about it when I get home. I'll pick up the girls and take them to Mom's. We'll work it out. Her face went pale. I have no idea what you're talking about. What if I have something planned for tonight? That's up to you, I told her. If you're interested in fixing what's broken in this house, you'll be ready and cut the crap. If you're fine with it, do whatever the hell you want. Oh yeah, one more thing. Move your shit to the spare bedroom. I like my bed. You're not welcome in the same bed as me. She pouted like a toad, but I wasn't going to listen to her. I just left her there and went to work. I picked the girls up from school, and they happily went to Grandma's for the evening. I told my mom that Amanda and I were having problems and needed some alone time. She just hugged me and told me she loved me. I was grateful that I didn't have to answer a bunch of questions. When I got home, Amanda was already there. She had baked cookies, and there was a plate of them and a cup of coffee waiting for me. She got up and snuggled up to me for a long time before she kissed my cheek and sat me down next to her on the couch. I got myself a cookie. They were delicious, oatmeal with chocolate chips and M&Ms. Good, I said. She smiled, and I thought we were off to a good start. I didn't want to ruin all that friendliness. Amanda, that was some nasty shit you pulled last night, I told her. It's bad enough that you did that to me, but you dragged Maura into it. It was humiliating for both of us. It was disrespectful to me and to that nice girl who is supposed to be your friend. She met my gaze with difficulty. I'm sorry, Corwin, she said. I shouldn't have done that, okay? I was just trying to talk to you and you just brushed me off. I thought that maybe this would be a way for you to see some possibilities. Opportunities for what? I asked. What exactly are you doing and thinking about, Amanda? Just ask me, tell me, or whatever. You're playing games, and it pisses me off. She hesitated for a minute, then just mouthed it. I just thought we could try dating other people. Well, there's a bit of a problem with that, I told her. Actually, there are several problems. The first is that we're both married. Other married people do it too, she said. It's not like it used to be. A lot of people have open marriages, and they love each other more than ever. It only makes them love each other more. How do you know that? I asked. Everyone knows about it, she replied. The girls at work talk about it all the time. Are these girls married? I asked. Yes, that's how I know about it. Give me a name, I said. Marcy, she said. Marcy and Herb have an open marriage, and their marriage is stronger than ever. How do you know? I asked. She told me, she replied. Well, that certainly means it's true. How do you know she's not lying? I have an idea, I told her. Let's see. Google knows everything. Let's look at all these loving, open marriages. She looked a little shocked, but still came over and sat next to me while I fired up my laptop. I opened my browser and typed in How many people live in open marriages? I had no idea what we would find, but I wanted to know it now. I clicked on the first link. According to the survey we read, less than 1% of Americans are in open marriages. We checked a few more links and the result was the same, less than 1%. I guess she expected something different. That's still a lot of people, she said. That's 3 million at least. That's wrong, I said. I doubt very many kids are in marriages, open or otherwise. Okay, let's try it this way, I suggested. I typed in, how many Americans expect their partners to be faithful? We clicked on the link and found that it was over 95%. And what do you think that means? I asked. Asked me. I guess most people aren't very open, she said. I thought there would be more people with alternative lifestyles. I hear about it all the time. I wonder how many of these open marriages end in divorce. Would you like to know? I asked. I don't think she wanted to. I did, however, and I wanted her to know. I typed into a search engine, how many open marriages end in divorce? Turns out 92% of open marriages end in divorce in 5 years or less. Okay, I said. Let's see. Less than 1% of Americans are in an open marriage. That means that out of 1 million people, less than 10,000 are in open marriages. 92% of open marriages end in divorce. That means that out of 10,000 people, 800 of them don't divorce for 5 years. That's 800 people out of 1 million, Amanda. Do the math. If 92% of 1% fail, how many successful open marriages are there in the world? What are the odds that ours will be one of the ones that succeed? Her voice was quiet. Not very good, she said. The few that succeed are the ones where both parties are on board, I told her. Look at the screen. 100% of the ones where one side is coerced fail. Our case will be one of those because I'm certainly not doing it voluntarily. Can you imagine the effects of resentment, rivalry, jealousy, insecurity, betrayal, and insecurity if I let it happen? The only possible reason I could do something so absurdly painful is if I was desperate to keep you. I'm not that desperate. I'm attracted to other women. One of them told me so last night. If I were some pathetic loser who can't find a date, or a sick freak who enjoys watching his wife have fun with other men, maybe I'd be interested in playing your game. I'm not that kind of man, Amanda. I'd rather you shoot me in the head than break my heart. I don't think you can believe everything you see on the internet, she said weakly. No, you're probably right, I said. I think most of it is total bullshit. Especially the part that says things are different now. A lot of people have open marriages. That's the part you shouldn't believe. You think you can believe everything that whore Marcy tells you? How many times has she been divorced? What about her husband? How many times has he been divorced? I don't know about him, she said. What about her? I asked. 4 times, she answered quietly. So you're listening to marriage advice from a 4-time loser? I asked incredulously. I'm not, she protested. She and Herb have a very strong marriage. I don't know what happened the other times. Maybe she married assholes. Or maybe she is an asshole, I said. I was disgusted by all this shit. I asked Maura where all this shit came from. She said Marcy talks about it all the time. I also found out that Marcy and Herb hardly talk to each other and spend all their time partying with their friends. How do you think this is going to end, Amanda? What exactly do you think you're doing? Well, don't you think our life lately has gotten a bit stale? She asked. No, it doesn't seem that way, I told her. I've been perfectly happy. It got weird because you want to play silly games. Wait a minute, was that Marcy's idea too? From the look on her face, I realized it was. Jesus Christ, I exploded. It was her idea. It's just unbelievable. We have a very strong marriage. This could be so good for us and so exciting, she said. We could come home and tell each other about our experiences and it would be so cool. Don't you have fantasies of me being with another man and then coming home and... A lot of men have that fantasy. It's one of the top 10 male fantasies. Fantasies? I exploded. More like a nightmare. How do you know a lot of men have that fantasy? Do you want to Google it? I don't know who's into that shit, but just thinking about it gives me the creeps. If you do this, any of it, we're screwed, Amanda. She looked shocked. What do you mean by, it's over between us? Do you mean you're going to divorce me? Is that all our marriage means to you? I thought you loved me more. I thought our marriage was strong and you were open to everything. Yeah, I thought it was strong too, I said. Apparently, it's not as strong as I thought it was. The fact that you're even talking crap like that tells me that our marriage doesn't mean a damn thing to you. What are you going to tell the girls? Mom and Dad are splitting up? Are you going to tell them why? We're not splitting up, she said. If we were splitting up, it would only be because their daddy doesn't love me enough to accept the fact that I love him enough to let him have another relationship. Guess again, I said. They would be told that their mother doesn't love their father enough to keep her marriage vows. She doesn't love them enough to make sure they have a good, loving home. Their mother wants to be a whore, and she doesn't care about the rest of them. We were both furious, and she quickly nailed the coffin lid shut. I want this, she said. It's going to happen, Corwin. You have to get used to it. You can either go on this journey with me, or you can sit at home and sulk like a child. That's where you're wrong, I told her. We're not going to survive this, Amanda. The first time you entertain some asshole, we'll be past it. I won't be sitting at home. I'll be talking to a lawyer. I'm going to give you a couple options. One, we can just forget the whole thing, and I'll talk to a lawyer in the morning. We'll get divorced as soon as possible. Two, you can make an appointment with a therapist in the morning to find out why you're freaking out. Right after that, you can make an appointment for us to see a marriage counselor. We'll try to fix this mess. I'll go to counseling too and work with you, but I don't have any hope at all. This is a big failure, Amanda. I've been anticipating it ever since you had those weird ideas. I think that slut Marcy was shoving some information at you, and you obviously swallowed it. You think all these good things are going to happen. All that will happen is that you will make everyone you say you love miserable. The girls, me and you, we're all going to suffer because you've somehow built that idea in your mind. Believe me, I'm not going to sit at home. And what are you going to do about it? Now she was teasing me. You won't be able to stop me. You don't own me, and I can do whatever I want. You're not going to divorce me. You have too much to lose. I'll get the girls in the house, and you'll pay alimony and child support. Think about it, Corwin. Don't do anything stupid. I love you. I'll never leave you. This could be so exciting for us. We'll experience all the thrills of the first time without all the risks and downsides. I'll come home or you'll come home, and we'll be there for each other. If you're not happy, we'll stop, and that's the end of it. She stood up, walked over to my chair, and tried to wrap her arms around me and kiss me. I pushed her hands away and stood up. Don't touch me, I told her. I need to think about this. I'll let you know what I decide. I lied. I didn't need to think about it at all. I just needed to gather my thoughts. She was probably right about everything she said about divorce. This whole system was screwed up 9 ways from Sunday. I needed to take a few steps. I left her there, went up to the bedroom, and locked the door. After sitting at the computer for 30 minutes and 10 on the phone, I came up with a plan to get the money. The problem was the girls. I checked. Georgia law, we lived in Atlanta, says kids over the age of 14 can choose who they live with. I bet on myself. Audra had the upper hand. She was Daddy's princess, and always had been. Olivia loved me, I knew that, but she also thought a lot of her mother. I knew there was no way Audra would go with Amanda, and I didn't think Olivia would want to be separated from her sister. I was betting that if I could get them to hear what their mother was planning, how she planned to use them as leverage to force me into this open marriage, they wouldn't want anything to do with her. Yes, it was cynical, and I hated every thought I had, but I wasn't the one changing the rules. Here's what it came down to. If Amanda had come to me before the wedding, told me she wanted to be faithful to each other for 19 years and then start having fun with other people, would I have married her? Not a chance in hell. I'd run out of there like a cat with its tail between its legs. She knew that, and would have done the same thing. Now she wanted to change the rules and force me to go along with them. She threatened me with what she would do if I didn't agree. If she came to me and told me she wanted to have fun and wanted a divorce, I would be in a lot of pain, but I would do the honorable thing. We would have split things up, agreed on custody, and that would have been the end of it. But not after this extortion. The conversation happened 2 nights later. Amanda didn't know the girls were eavesdropping from the stairwell. She started by apologizing. I wasn't buying it. So you've decided to see a therapist and start marriage counseling? I asked. There's nothing wrong with me, she snapped back. The problem is you. You plan to have fun with other men and I'm the problem? I asked. I'm not planning anything, she said. I don't have some big plan to go out and do that. I mean, going out with someone else. I don't even expect to do that. I just think we should have an option if it comes up. I have another idea, I told her. Just so you know, I have the option of cheating on you sometimes. Not every day, but I've had those chances a dozen times over the years. You know what kept me from doing it? What? She asked. I had a plan, I told her. I had a plan not to cheat. I went into each of these situations with a plan that I wasn't going to do it. That's what marriage is all about. Planning for a good marriage, planning not to have fun with other people. If you don't plan for success, you plan for failure. Isn't that what they say? It is what you plan to do. You plan to betray all the promises you made to everyone, me, your children, God, and everyone else. How do you think the girls will take it? You won't tell them a damn thing, she hissed. You know the mother always gets custody of the children. I'll take them away from you and you'll never see them again. I'll make sure something comes up every time you visit them. You'd better not say a word to them. She threw me a glance and walked off somewhere. A few faint sighs and muffled sobs came from the stairs. Amanda was making too much noise for me to hear. When I reached the stairs, the girls were gone. I went up to Audra's room, but it was empty. As I walked down the hallway to Olivia's room, I heard quiet voices inside. I knocked and Olivia asked what I needed. Can I come in? I asked. She opened the door. Come on in, Daddy, she said. We thought maybe it was Mom. They were both obviously crying. I sat down between them and hugged them both. I'm so sorry you had to hear that, I told them. I didn't think you'd believe me unless you heard it for yourself. It's okay, Dad, Olivia said. It's not your fault. It's her fault. I didn't believe you. Well, I didn't think you'd lie to us, but I thought maybe you misunderstood her. Now we know. How could she do this to you? How could she do that to us? I don't know, baby, I told her. I don't understand a damn thing. She's not thinking straight. She's been listening to a lot of bullsh. Bullshit, someone at work told her. She decided she was going to do it, that's all. I tried everything I could think of to talk her out of it. But she doesn't care. Do you think she's sick? Asked Audra. I have no idea what she's sick with, I said. I've been trying to talk her into seeing a therapist. You heard me. I've suggested she go to marriage counseling. She's just not interested. So what are we going to do? She asked. Nothing right now, I said. When she decides I've given up, she'll probably go on a date. When she does, we'll be ready. When she comes back, we'll be gone. I'll try to talk her out of it. I don't think she'll listen. Are you both with me, or do you want to stay with her? They looked at each other for a minute. No, Daddy, we're coming with you, Audra said. My heart jumped. 19 years ending in disappointment, but here was a reason I was going to be okay. I wouldn't regret a single minute as long as I had my children. It had been almost 2 months. It's been the strangest 2 months of my life. Amanda and I barely spoke. We were like roommates who didn't really like each other. She slept in the spare bedroom and I slept in what was our room. I tried to talk to her, to convince her of the madness she was up to. One evening, we were weeding the garden and I broached the subject. Amanda, do you feel like your plan is working? Is our marriage getting stronger? Is this what you thought would be so great? Is this what you've been dreaming of? She looked at me, and I saw the first hint of doubt in her eyes. It quickly turned to anger. If you weren't an asshole, things would be different, she snapped back. I don't want my wife planning to have fun with other people. She insists she's going to do it whether I like it or not. Am I the asshole here? Yes, you are, she practically shouted. You don't even think about how great this could be for both of us. It doesn't have to be like this. You can just let go of your stubborn male pride, and it'll be perfect. Perfect for who? I asked. Certainly not for me. This is as bad as it can get for me at all. You obviously don't care about me. I love you far more than you love me, she said bitterly. I love you enough to allow you your freedom, to let you explore your boundaries, and to keep your place in my heart. I don't consider that love, I told her. I consider it selfishness. I love you enough not to exercise my freedom. I love you enough not to have fun with other people, not to explore any boundaries. If you truly loved me, you would. When did you stop loving me, Amanda? No, I didn't stop, she cried. I love you more than ever. That's how I can let that happen. My love for you is stronger than you can imagine. So love is when you drive a stake through my heart. Is that love to you? I asked. That's not what I'm doing, she was furious now. I'm going to the club with Bill White from work Friday night, she said. Zebra's coming with us. Please, Corwin, come with us. Give it a try. I promise you won't be disappointed. It'll be the hottest thing we've ever done. I pretended to think for a moment. Okay, what the hell? You're going to do it anyway, so I guess I can come with you too. She was in the garden in a flash, wrapped her arms around me and pressed herself against my body. Corwin, she sobbed. God, thank you, honey. I was going crazy. I didn't think you'd even think about it. You won't regret it, baby, I promise. You'll never regret it. I was already regretting it, but the situation was unbearable. I couldn't go on like this. I wondered if Maura would help me. I decided to call her. As it turned out, she was mad as hell. She had no idea what was going on when Mandy suggested she go to the club. She didn't know Bill White would be there, and she certainly didn't know she was being set up to be with me. What a bitch, she said when I told her about it. I call her now and she's toast. Maura, do you trust me? I asked her. What the hell does that mean? She hissed. I trusted that bitch wife of yours too. Maura, calm down, I told her. I need your help. I know you're upset, but I really need you to help me. This is the dividing line. I'm walking away from it. We're getting divorced as soon as possible. I'm ready, but I need your help. I'm going to play, and I need you to play with me. I could hear her breathing deeply into the tube. What are you up to? She asked. I'm going to pretend I don't care about any of this, I told her. I'm going to ask you to come home with me. All you have to do is pretend that's what you want to do. She laughed. How do I know this isn't some devious plan to get me into your house? I chuckled. It is, I told her. I need you to take the girls to my new place while I move our stuff out of the house. That brought out the evil side of her, and she agreed that her revenge could wait. I didn't know she had a vengeful side, but it had to work for me. That week was beautiful. Friday morning before I left for work, I tried again. Are you very sure about this, Amanda? There's still time, you can still cancel. Hasn't this week been great with just the two of us? Corwin, we've been through all of this already. If it turns out you don't like it, we can talk afterward, but I'm not changing my mind. She smiled at me. Yes, Corwin, the last week has been wonderful. I've really enjoyed it, and I love you. Tonight is going to be the best night ever. You'll see. Thanks for doing this with me. You're going to love it, Corwin, I know it. She, dancing, walked out of the bedroom. Did she know I'd like it? Right, I thought sourly. Let's get this day over with. When Zebra peeked into the house Friday night, she was simply stunned. Amanda was pretty, petite, and slender. Zebra was in a whole different league. She was tall. Now I realize you're trying to entertain me, she said. Well, yes, but not tonight, I said. It's all business. I'll have to wait. That's too bad, she said. Amanda only smiled. You two are getting an early start, I see. Leave it until after we dance and then get a room. I already have a room, I told her. How about you and Bill get a room? She grinned, grabbed her clutch, and off we went. Bill met us at the club. I don't think the evening started out the way he expected. I shook his hand and just crushed it. I did powerlifting for many years, and if you lift without straps, it gives you a pretty good grip. I saw him start to get weak in the knees, so I let him go. You could see he wanted to whimper and wipe his hand, but his macho image wouldn't let him. He was one of those handsome boys. Have you ever noticed that when men get close to what some women would call the ideal, the odds of them being barbers or Scientologists increase almost to infinity? Just look at Tom Cruise, I inquired of Bill. Say, Bill, are you a barber by any chance? I asked him. He snorted. Hell no, he said. He looked like he wanted to say something, but his arm hurt too much. Do you know who Ron Hubbard is? I asked him. Yes, how did you know? He asked. I was a Scientologist for 6 years. I shrugged. Just testing a theory, I said. C was ready to choke. I'd already mentioned my little theory to her, and she could burst into laughter at any moment. We both glanced over at Amanda, and she blushed furiously. Perhaps I had shared my personal theories with her too often. Let's find a stall, she said, and strode away with her back stiff as a poker, and Mr. Bill followed her. As soon as he was within 10 feet of us, Zebra burst into laughter. I took her hand and we followed them, wiping tears from our eyes. You're an evil man, Corwin, she sighed. Yeah, it's been a hell of a night, I told her. Get a grip on yourself more. Act like you're seducing me. And she was pretty good at it. Are you ready for the big show? I asked Zebra. I heard a noise, and Amanda and Mr. Bill slid back into the booth. Oh no, I said in my best Saturday Night Live show host manner. Look who's back. Zebra got it. Amanda did too. But Mr. Bill didn't notice anything. Don't do him any harm, Slughorn, Moore chuckled. Amanda swelled up like a puffer, and the smirk disappeared from her face. Moore and I are going to get out of here, I told them. And you, have fun. Amanda walked us to the door. Are you sure you're okay, Corwin? She asked. You were being a jerk back there. No, I'm not okay, I told her. Mandy, it's not too late. You've had your fun. Just get out of here right now with me. We'll go home and try to work things out. If you stay, it's going to be for a long time. No, Corwin, she said. This is going to be so great for us. Just go and enjoy the sea. It'll be amazing, you'll see. Just try not to be such a jerk, okay? She grabbed my hand. It's going to be so great, Corwin. You'll see. The sea is hot for you. You can tell me all about it when I get home. Aren't you going to spend the night with him? I asked. I figured with a stud like him, he'd be up all night. Well, I guess so. She hesitated a little. I thought I'd get home around midnight and then we'd do our thing, you know. Brighten up the time. Oh, yeah. I slapped myself on the forehead. I forgot. Well, I'll see you when you get here. If Maura and I are still, having fun, try to keep it down, okay? She looked at me and kissed me. I hope she liked it, because it was the last one. I walked out and got in the car. The sea was waiting. Are you sure you know what you're doing, Corwin? She asked. You've been married a long time. Yeah, I'm sure, I sighed. I expected you to be even more upset, she said. After a while, you just run out of steam, I said. I was upset for a long time. Now I'm just sick, tired and sick. I just want it to be over. Somehow I've lost the energy to be upset. I've cried gallons of tears and the time to cry is over. It's time to move on. Let's go get the girls. When we pulled up, the truck was already being loaded. The girls were carrying their clothes downstairs and packing them into large plastic tubs. There wasn't much furniture we were carrying. The bed from the main room, the girls' beds, their TVs and electronics, and the big screen we replaced 6 months ago with a bigger one. When the girls were done packing, C took them in her car, and they drove to the new place. It was as far away from the old one as you could get, and still in the same school district. The guys finished packing up, and I took one last look around. Everything looked empty and silent. The ghosts of 19 years was all that was left. I sighed, took off my wedding ring, and tossed it on the kitchen table along with my cell phone. The girls' phones were already there, and it was time to leave. I felt melancholy take over me. I left with a whimper. A few minor jabs at Amanda and Mr. Bill, and I was walking away from 19 years that had been pretty damn good. Oh well, stuff happens. I closed up, loaded the tools from the garage into the back of my truck, and drove off. The girls were excited about the new place. There was a pool in the backyard, and they couldn't wait to try it out the next day. "Do you like it, baby?" I asked Audra. "Yes," she replied. I had no idea what kind of yeet it was, but it sounded good. Sebra was there, and she still looked amazing, but if she had been Jennifer Lawrence in the flesh, I would have just gotten tired. Not that I preferred Jennifer Lawrence to Sebra, you understand, but you know what I mean. She sensed it, I think, and just gave me a dazzling smile, gave me a quick peck on the cheek and left, only the smell of her perfume reminding me that she was there. We got into bed, and surprisingly, I slept. Not very well, but I slept. The next morning I got up and made coffee, and a short time later the girls came in. We had Danish Kringle and chocolate milk for breakfast. They watched cartoons on TV until noon, and then two gorgeous little bundles of energy and bikinis were splashing around in the pool, and I sat in a chaise lounge and watched them. I wasn't really paying attention. I was wondering what Mandy was doing. She had to be freaking out by now. I was sure she was calling everyone she could remember, trying to find out what had happened. It wasn't going to be easy for her to find us. I didn't work. I sold the business and profited like a bandit. The girls were out of school. It was summer vacation. We weren't going anywhere except to the grocery store, and there we walked and took the bus. The truck was parked in the garage. I was sure the police were looking for us, but without the truck, they would have a problem. The only way to contact us was electronically. She flooded our inboxes with messages, texting the girls on IM every time they went on social media, sending tweets and Instagram posts. We read them, but didn't respond. Allowed her to find us the hard way. I knew she would sooner or later, but she needed to work and pay bills. I didn't make any payments, and if she didn't, she would fall behind quickly. We had a good amount of equity in the house, and I knew she wouldn't want to lose it. Apparently, she got desperate because one day, about 3 weeks later, a private investigator approached me at the grocery store. "Mr. Decker?" he asked. "Who wants to know?" said I. "Your wife hired me to find you," he said. "I'm going to tell her where you are. You need to call her." "If I see you around, I'll charge you with stalking," I told him. "Beat it, mutt." I wasn't going to call her. As it turned out, I didn't have to. The police arrived, and Mandy gave them the information that I had kidnapped the girls. They asked me to come down to the station and deal with it. When I refused, they arrested me and dragged me downtown. The girls went in another car, and when we got to the station, Amanda was already there. She tried to hug the girls, but they weren't interested. They pushed her away, and then a woman came and took her and Amanda away. They went to one room and I went to another. The cops started questioning me like they had a grudge against me. I identified myself. They already had my driver's license, and the only words that came out of my mouth were, "I intend to remain silent and want to speak to a lawyer." That silenced them. "He's hiring a lawyer," I heard one of them say. They gave me the phone, and I called John Trimble. He was there in 45 minutes. Moore was with him. We had it all planned out. It took about 3 hours to get everything sorted out. The girls said they were with me because they wanted to be, that there had been no kidnapping and that they didn't want to talk to their mother. John took it from there. He pointed out that there was no court order for custody. that Georgia law considered both parents equal claimants to custody, and that children over the age of 14 could choose the parent they wanted to live with. They had no choice but to let us go. C went with us, and Amanda walked behind us, begging the girls to talk to her. They got into Sebra's car and drove off, leaving the two of us alone in the parking lot. Amanda was crying like a bucket and looked just awful. She turned longing eyes to me and fell to her knees. Corwin, for God's sake, talk to me. Please, I'm begging you. I seem to remember begging you not to have fun with Mr. Bill, I said. You didn't listen. Why should I? Please, Corwin, don't treat me like this, she sobbed. I'm sorry, okay? Can't we just go somewhere and talk? Okay, let's talk, I said. Where do you want to go? Home, she pleaded. Can't we just go home? I don't want to go somewhere where I might be seen in this condition. We can go to my house, I told her. I'm not interested in going to yours. I don't know who you've been partying with there. She groaned slightly in horror but nodded her head. Okay, Corwin, suit yourself, she said. But it's your home, too. I wasn't going to argue with her. She wanted me to go with her, but I wasn't going to be stuck in a car with her. I called a cab and she followed me home. I knew the girls had been with Sebra and stayed the night at her place. They had known her all their lives and were very close. Amanda walked into the house and I brought her a cup of coffee. We sat down at the bar and the silence stretched awkwardly. The silence hadn't been uncomfortable between us since our third date, but it sure was now. What do you want, Corwin? She finally asked. Did I say I wanted something? I asked. I mean, what do you want me to do? She said. What do I need to do to get you to come home? What do you want me to do so I can see the girls? Hey, there's no way I can influence you to see the girls, I said. It was their choice. What did you tell them? She accused. You told them something. You turned them against me. I read about it. Are you sure Marcy didn't tell you that? I asked. She lowered her eyes. Apparently Marcy was the oracle of all wisdom. What do you want? She repeated. You know what the funny thing is? I asked. The funny thing is that I haven't said a word to them about you. The only thing I've told them is that I'm leaving you, and they need to decide who they want to live with. You want to know who told them, Amanda? You. You're the one who told them. What do you mean? She asked. I didn't say anything. When was I supposed to say something? Do you remember that night in the living room when you threatened me? I asked. I could see that she remembered. They were sitting on the stairs. They heard every word you said. Her face turned pale and she began to sob. I didn't mean it, she sobbed. I just... She couldn't continue. Well, they think you did, I said. Actually, I think so too. I think most people win. What can I do? Her plea was pathetic. Mine was pathetic too. With them? I have no idea, nor do I care, I said. You screwed it up. You fix it. What can I do to you? She asked. Well, you can file for divorce, I said. I don't want a divorce. I just want you to come home, she said. I am home, I told her. I don't live with you. I'm sorry, Corwin. This whole thing was a big mistake, she said. I shouldn't have made you do it. You didn't want it, and I should have just accepted it. I'm accepting it now. Why don't you just forgive me and we'll just go see that marriage counselor? I'll see a therapist. I'll do whatever you want. I'm sorry too, I said. The problem isn't that I didn't want it. The problem is that you wanted it. I want you to file for divorce. I'll give you some time. In a few months, if you don't file, I will. I don't want anything to do with you, Amanda. Since you're the kind of man who would do what you did, we're done. You thought you could hold children over my head and force me to be a cuckold. You thought you could hold me hostage and do whatever you wanted. Now you've realized you can't do that and you've given up. It's too late, Amanda. File for divorce. You bastard, she exclaimed. You stole all our money. You sold the business, and there's maybe $50,000 left in our bank accounts. Half the money you took was mine. I didn't touch a dime of your money, I told her. I sold the business at a huge loss because I needed to do it fast. I only took the money I made, and guess what? I didn't have a dime left. All of these things were true. They were safely tucked away in an offshore account. I realized I had to do this before the divorce. The records showed that I had sold the business to a Danish company for less than I should have paid in taxes. In addition, I had seriously overpaid the IRS, and they kept that money to offset it against future tax payments. Our brokerage accounts were untouched, and I knew I would have to give half of it away. I set up trusts for the girls, and they were going to sit pretty. For 3 months, I went to every grocery store, Walmart, and convenience store in town. I used my debit card, and every time the machine asked me if I wanted cash, I said yes. $60 to $80 at all these stores, and 3 people did it at every store in town wherever they could. The great thing was that all of these transactions were legal. I had a huge wad of cash in an old trunk in the warehouse. As soon as it was clean, I would start using them. Amanda, you have a house, I told her. We've saved enough money that you can sell it, get out of the mortgage, and live just fine for a while. Maybe after the house is sold, you can move in with Mr. Bill. I wonder how his wife would feel about that. She sighed. I didn't know he was married, she said. No, you didn't care that he was married, I said. You wanted an open marriage. Maybe he has one. It's time to move on, Amanda. File for divorce. It's over between us. I stood up and walked toward the door. She followed me, stretching her arms and crying. She stopped at the door and looked at me. Tell the girls I love them and I'm sorry. Can you do that for me, Corwin? Yes, I'll tell them, I said. I'm not going to give up, she said. I'm not filing for a divorce because I don't want one. I want you to come home where you belong. I wish you'd be a little more open, Corwin, but I can see that's impossible. I never thought it would be like this. I never thought you were serious about not even trying. I still think that if you just tried it, you'd realize you liked it. But now I see that you can't even try. Despite that, I still love you and I will keep trying. I was too tired to argue with her. I walked her out the door, pulled myself together, and called Sebra. She brought the girls home but didn't come over herself. Audra and Olivia were very upset and even angrier at their mother than before, if that was even possible. I knew they wouldn't take the message from Amanda that I had prepared for them, so I decided to just sit with it for a while. 2 days later, Amanda showed up around 4:30 p.m. with dinner. She had made chicken tetrazzini with French string beans and a big basket of garlic bread. Olivia opened the door. Amanda tried to hug her and got a stiff arm in return. Hi, baby, Amanda began. Daddy, called Olivia loudly. You need to come out here. Olivia, her mother began. I'm so sorry, baby. I, I, I love you and I've missed you so much. I just wish... Olivia stopped her. I don't want to hear it, she shouted. Don't do what you did to the ones you love. Stay away from me. She walked away and Amanda nearly fainted. I rescued the basket of food she was carrying and pulled her over to the couch. She sat down and rested her face in her hands. What have I done? She sobbed. They hate me, Corwin. They won't even give me a chance. Well, what you did to them was very hateful, I told her. I doubt they'll ever trust you again, Amanda. Perhaps you can develop some kind of relationship with them. I won't stand in the way of that, but it's all about you, not them or me. I made dinner, she looked at me pleadingly. I felt sorry for her. It was her own fault, but she was hurting. I never liked kicking stray dogs. Let me talk to them, I said. Find some dishes in the kitchen and we'll see what happens. Thanks, Corwin. I need a napkin, she said. I brought her a box and went up to talk to the girls. They were getting worked up. I can't believe she just showed up here, Audra said. Did she think she could feed us and everything would be okay? She ruined our family. I know, kitten, I told her. Here's the thing. She threw a hand grenade and now she has to deal with shrapnel. She still doesn't get it. She still thinks I'm the problem. It's no big deal. I can live with that. I'm not going back to her. I want you to stay with me, but if you want to be with her, that's fine. Nothing will ever change how much I love you two. I'd rather hang myself, Olivia said. We're staying with you, Dad. I hugged them. Do you think we could go out to eat with your mom and be nice to her? I asked. Do you want us to do that? Asked Olivia. Yes, I do, baby, I said. Just don't say mean things to her, okay? Let her know how you feel, but don't be mean. Do you think you can do that? They both agreed, and we had the most awkward dinner ever. Amanda tried to engage the girls in conversation, and they responded, but briefly. We cleaned up, collected Amanda's dishes, and she got ready to leave. Audra, is it okay if I give you a hug? She asked. No, Mom, it's not okay, she replied. I'll talk to you if you want me to, but from now on, you're not my mom anymore. That just destroyed Amanda. It was 30 minutes before she could calm down enough to go home. She was pathetic, and I felt sorry for her, but it wasn't my fault. She continued to come about once a week and eventually reached such an understanding with the girls that they sometimes went to visit with her. She didn't file for divorce and kept urging me to move in with her. 6 months later, I filed. There was a certain dusky volcano of love in my life, and I wanted to see where it would lead. If things didn't go the way I wanted, I needed to move on as a free man. When the divorce was final, I think Amanda finally realized it was over between us. I certainly hoped she had found someone she was happy with. I was sure of it. I was going to ask Moore to marry me. If she didn't agree, I'd have to go to desperate measures. The end. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. So subscribe to my channel and watch the next video.